There is few people I'd want to talk to more than you about love because I know that you love your man.
Oh my God. I like with my whole heart and I can't wait to like dig into this. I'm just thinking like we really have had such a parallel life. And I remember when I met you, I was like, how old is this girl? Because she feels like spiritually the same age as me. I'm like, I have questions. Your vibration is just like so soulful and
Mm.
wise um and also like you're like you do have such youthfulness and a, a wise youthfulness, I would say to you. Like,
Ah, I
because
appreciate
I'm
that.
sure we've both had moments of like destructive youthfulness, but like,
I really only started living, I feel like, out my 20s about at 25 or so. Like when I ended my last relationship, I was engaged because I was a caregiver for my dad since I was like 18. So I
right.
felt like I was like a 65-year-old exhausted woman for most of my 20s.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got out of that relationship, I was like, I'm free and
Yeah.
I am living. And I had my energy back and my zest for life back and like my faith back. So I'm ready. Thank you for seeing that.
It is interesting because like we did live such a parallel experience while you were a caretaker for one, I was a caretaker for another in different ways. One being, mine being my then husband with severe PTSD. And so it's just so, and yeah, we were both in our fucking alive phase of we just want to feel everything.
And we did.
And we did.
So the last time we saw each other in person, we were both single. And from my recollection, we were enjoying it. We're like,
Oh
we
yeah.
know he's going to come. So let's
Yeah.
just rock out while we're in this.
I loved my single season, and it really wasn't until like right before I met Keith that I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I still wasn't like, I wasn't like trying to land my king.
Mm.
It wasn't like I was doing that on purpose by any means. It was just, I was just healing whatever occurred to me to heal because that's what was making me feel better just inside my own temple. And like that was like the piece that, like the detached. It was so much easier for me because I had already had a 20-year marriage to a man that I deeply loved. We had a family together. I wasn't trying to have kids. So I have like deep reverence for women who are trying to find their king because they want to have their family. And I had a much easier road of that in that like I found the person that I was going to build a family with when I was very, very young.
Yeah.
And that had its own set of challenges, but like that like sadness, the grief, the fear, the worry, like I didn't actually have to experience any of that.
I feel fortunate in the sense that I'm younger, so I don't have the intense biological clock ticking. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember very specifically when I started to feel like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. Not that the experiences I were having were all shallow. Some of them were actually quite deep and like soul stirring. I don't want to say soul stirring, maybe just like soul like tickling,
Yeah.
and like just helping me understand a little bit more about myself. But then, of course, I got to that point where I was like, oh, I want to be rocked by someone's soul. Like, I want to
Yeah.
merge with them. I want the union. And I was like, okay, but I don't want any of that urgency energy because if I have any of that urgency energy, then my instincts aren't going to be able to actually kick in, right?
Right.
And be able to understand like this is my person, not out of fear, not out of worry or urgency, but from
Right.
my soul. And so I remember the night, like I literally made a pact with God and I was like, I know that if I am with the person that I can see in my visions, the world will be such a better place. Like I know that with every single bone in my body, and I want babies so much. But if you felt like he wasn't ready for me and I wasn't ready for him until I was 50 and, our care in the world shook out a different way, I made that pact. And then it was literally like 3 weeks later that he came, which I was like shocked.
I'm like getting such like in my bones like chills right now
Mm.
because like I remember this fear coming out of my marriage. I'm like, well, that's it for me. Like I'll never be loved like that again. And oh, that's like even so sad. Like I can still
Yeah.
feel that. That is still very real in my body. Of like it feels now like a grief for her in that moment, you know? And I remember getting into my car and I don't know, going to the grocery store or something, and I heard clear as day, you, or something like, he will find you sooner than you think. And I'm like, huh, who? He. And I was just like, I knew it in my bones. I knew it in my whole motherfucking soul that there was another great love for me. I certainly wasn't trying to find him then because I was just unraveling my marriage, but it sent this like deep peace. And I would say I wouldn't have felt that peace if I hadn't done deep spiritual work, trusting universal timing
Yeah.
so intensely over so many years that I wouldn't have been able to receive that in the same way. But I was just like, okay, if that's what's for me, I'll just know it. I'll just walk and know it. And in the meantime, I'm gonna like heal my heart and do all of the things that feel good to me, that feel fun and alive. Have sex again. Great sex again.
Yep. That sadness, like I can feel it of like I remember saying that with my 17-year-old boyfriend, like I'm never gonna be loved like this again. I remember saying that with my ex, which he
Yeah.
was full on narcissist, like horribly toxic relationship. And I remember saying those words.
Yeah.
And I know there's so many people listening to this who are like, I feel the same way if I were to leave this marriage or situationship or still maybe feel it. And the reality is like, I think we feel sad because it's like we know the wiser part of us knows that we're never going to be loved like that again because that's like loving an iota of us or maybe even a version of us that we don't even like fuck with that much. That's when I left, when I was like, wait a minute, you do love me, but you love the version of me that I don't even like. Like you love the part of me that I don't even fuck with at all anymore. And I just have to be her to like get some like resemblance of love and like affection from you. And the more I become her, the less I actually love myself. And then the after of like all of the healing, all that is just like, oh my gosh, here you are. Like I remember, do you remember that feeling of being like, I missed you so much?
Yes. Oh my God. TP. I actually
So
just
good.
had a beautiful conversation with someone I love very much this morning, and she is just really going through it and having all same familiar thoughts. And I was just like, just let me tell you for a second what's on the other side of this for you. And I just got to whisper that, knowing that like there's ridiculous energy and love and excitement and passion, and like your ability is so much more than you can even imagine,
Mm.
and what the world has to offer you is bigger and better. And I love what you said where you're like, you're right, I will never be loved like that again, as a declaration, not a sadness. Like you literally actually
Yeah.
just transformed that for me.
Oh, thanks.
Isn't
I'm
that
glad.
crazy how we can just say something that we know so deeply, and all of a sudden someone else can know it for themselves too?
I mean, women, I'm laughing. I know he's not listening to me. He's up there in this loft, but I obviously talk about women 24 fucking 7. This is the work that I do. And so he'll be like, women's. So now I've got myself. Anyways, point being is, this is women, like the vision holders. Like when you just said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what we do for our girlfriends. Like and everybody, we're like, oh, we can see the vision, like I'll hold it for you until you're there. Like you don't have the faith, like I got you. I have full crystal clear vision for where that love is going. And I mean, that's what this whole conversation is, hopefully for somebody who can't see it yet, but like we can see it for you. Like we got you until you're there, I promise.
I know it for you. It's so funny. I'm like, we just like, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, something tells me I need to record this right now before, and this is just how we kick this shit off. Because that's what I think the thing that you and I bring when we're together is like, it is just like a soulful girlfriend conversation, as much as like you have exceptional talents and credentials and trained in Reiki, you have this beautiful brand and a podcast called She's Too Much, and like you have like, yes, we have lots of things to say about you. I think they'll come out really naturally in this conversation, but I think people just got everything that they needed to know with zero introduction.
That's great. I don't really care if you know me. I just hope you have a good time here and feel a little bit of love.
Just fucking feel us. Don't know us, just feel us.
That's really it.
So, welcome to the podcast, Samantha Bove. Welcome to the More Life podcast, newly rebranded in the last few months. Yes. So, to give everyone a little bit of background, like Samantha and I met at a retreat. In fact, I wasn't even sure I was going to go to that retreat. And I asked myself many times why I was going because it very much was like this healing esque type of retreat. And I was just like, I feel great. Honestly, I'm like honestly at a 10 right now. And I remember thinking, I'm like, well, I feel like I'm supposed to be there anyway. And like, if there's something that I can give versus receive. And I really did actually show up and I received so much through
Mm.
new friendships and connections. And every time I talk to you, I'm like, there's few women on this world that remind me of like the feminine purity and like just the girls type
Mm.
of woman that my grandma was always for me. She really
Mm.
set like the foundation of how I wanted to be as a woman. In fact, a therapist actually said, like, you've been mimicking your whole life after your grandma's
Wow.
since the very beginning, even down to a 20-year relationship where we raised our children with one man. We walked out of that relationship. We had like one wild love, and then we found the second love of our life. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you're not wrong. In fact, I just texted her before this. I'm writing a book for women, and I was like asking my grandma. I'm so lucky I get to like still send her texts, even though she's in a memory care facility. There's certain
Mm.
things that she just like still knows deep in her
Mm.
bones, and I'm like, I want to ask all these questions while I can. And I asked her, I was like, grandma, how did you stay soft in a world where like you've had to be so resilient? Like she had her husband, there was some infidelity in her first marriage. Like it's hard to say that. It's like my grandpa, I love him, but like fuck grandpa, you screwed up.
Yeah.
I can be honest about that. But and then she lost the love of her life,
Mm.
dropped dead in front of her. And her response to that was, she calls me Annie. She goes, Annie, since I've always been blessed with a fairly easy life, I've nothing to add to the trials of others. I was like, if that doesn't speak to the resiliency of this woman, I'm like, I just don't even know what to say. But, anyways, all of that said to say, like, you have that same spirit
Mm.
that I have always, like, deeply cherished
Mm.
in like certain women in my life, starting with like the first great love of my life, which is my grandmother. So
Oh.
thank you for bringing that spirit to the world and for
Oh.
sharing. When you like reveal, when you unravel yourself and you figure out how to like brighten and enliven and lighten your spirit, the way that you share that and gift that, transmute it, and give it to other women is like very, very special.
Thank you. I feel my dad's energy so much in this conversation because that's so much of his energy. Like, so much of my softness came from the safety that I felt with him in the
Mm,
world. Like,
wow.
and I've actually been like contemplating softness as it relates to the feminine lately because I'm super into archetype work and basically, like, obviously, parts work, but like feminine archetype edition. So it's like way more fun and like sensual and
Yeah.
playful, but like still so healing.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing a lot with just thinking about the softness of the feminine, because I think on Instagram, like that's what I'm seeing a lot. Like a lot of people who haven't really studied much masculine, feminine energetics, the only thing they're talking about is enter your soft era, which I love. And I talk about a lot. It's not the only thing. So I've been thinking a lot about like fierceness and how, like, if somebody was to say like, how, like, I want to be more soft. How do I be more soft? I actually am like, well, I would rather them actually lean into like where they're really fierce in their life, but it's probably misdirected. Like, I think a lot of women who feel like they're not soft, they're actually like, how do I say this? They're very fierce about like control, about micromanaging, about being perceived a certain way. Like, they have a ferocity around that. But I think the path to softness is having fierce faith, like
Ooh.
true ferocity around, like, I am ferocious when it comes to my faith. And that being the number one thing that I'm cultivating and building a connection with every single day. And that makes me feel like a soft woman. And I think when we're little, if we're lucky enough, we have a grandparent or a caregiver that embodies, like God embodies, I got you. You're going to be okay. Like this is your walking faith. Now, you know, I have God's spirit, my highest self, and I have my man. So I don't know. I just felt like that's important.
I I agree with you, and I think what I'm hearing you really say is like they are actually synonymous with each other.
Mm,
It's just misdirected in
yeah.
areas that actually I said the other day, I was like, there's this idea of like, we keep telling women to be stronger, but when are we at our strongest? We're at our strongest when we're the most agile and the most resilient.
Mm,
What creates resiliency? And I said, if you've ever had somebody tell you, like, if you know you're about to get into a head on collision, you don't want to tense your body. You don't
mm,
want to be strong. You want to completely let your body go limp. You want to go into the softest state that you can so that your body can absorb the impact
mm,
without creating breakages.
mm,
And I'm like, how we go about strength is by honoring agility first
mm.
and honoring true resiliency first. And that isn't going to come through a rigid structure. This is like, I'm literally like, oh, I'm gonna quote you on this in my book because it's literally exactly what I'm writing about right now.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
example of the softness. I always say that like nothing is as powerful as a relaxed woman.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Because, and I think like even the other day I took a bath and my partner, he was like, you got to chill. Like you've been really on one. Like go do some things for the next few hours. I'm like, you're right. So I took like a 2 hour bath and I went down a Instagram rabbit hole of like the funniest feed ever, like animals and funny parent stuff. Like
Yes.
I was cracking up laughing. I got out, I wrote like 7 content ideas. I was buzzing. And I was like, wow, like the reason I have all this access is because I'm relaxed, but it's because I have constantly, less and less throughout the years, reminding myself, like, I'm taken care of. Like while
Yeah.
I rest, like God can work. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. So yeah, I'm with
Mm.
you.
While I rest, God can work. Mm. I just want to like literally eat that for a second. So good. I would say the areas that I am like, did you say fierce or ferocious or what was yours?
I said a word that I don't even know if it exists, which I do often, which I said well, I did say ferocious, which is a word, but I also said ferocity, which
Right.
was
I
probably
literally,
not a word, but I
it's,
said it confidently.
it is now. I actually was about to repeat that word and I'm like, I wasn't even questioning whether it was a word or not. So it may or may not be, but we're going to roll
Is
with
what
it.
it is.
I feel the vibration of it and that's all that fucking matters here
It's all
today.
that matters.
I would say I point my ferocity in the
My
direction.
fr-
I point it in the direction of my values.
mm,
And that has been a lot, that has allowed me to feel the most resilient, the strongest, because it's when we know what we stand for that. I brought the dog to the office with me today that like barks at we got her to be an emotional support dog for my daughter. And I forgot to tell the universe, don't give me the dog that also needs an emotional support dog. She's like more on edge when her sister's not with her. She's like,
baby.
Ella's her emotional support.
Yeah,
Anyway, so if you guys hear Mia in the background, like
it's all good.
she is working on her softening. Come here, honey.
Yeah.
Um, come here,
Oh,
feel the
she's
energy.
cute.
I know. Can you be mad?
No. Let's see.
Oh,
Does this work?
I
It's
know.
okay.
So, anyways, I just think like the woman who knows what she stands for. I say this all the time. The reason that we keep getting less is because we keep saying yes to it.
Hmm.
And when you know your values and you know you're no matter what, your values are just your no matter what. Like
Hmm.
I won't take anything less than this. It's so easy to have that veracity, ferocity, fierceness,
Yeah.
all of it. Like it doesn't even actually I was also telling this to my girlfriend this morning. I don't remember what brought this up, but she was talking about a quote that she had on her phone. And she's like, "This is helping me." And she goes, "You've said something to me before." She's she's like, "I've heard you say, what would your future self know?" And for some reason, at first, I asked myself, what would my future self choose? And I really struggled with that. It felt heavy. But when I switched the background on my screen to say, what would your future self know? It, um, it changed the weight of it. And I said, I've noticed this pattern within myself lately where things that I used to have to choose are the things that happen automatically for me now. In fact, I've been noticing this pattern more and more when I'll be in motion moving towards something that I didn't consciously choose. And I'm like, oh, I like went to go put this thing away instead of leaving it on my desk. And I'm just like, huh, I didn't consciously choose it. I just know I'm a woman who likes spaciousness. This is just something that I deeply value. And so I hold the standards of that value. I don't have to choose it. It's being chosen automatically on my behalf. It doesn't have to feel like work. It feels easy and light and effortless. And I want to ask, like, I want to actually start asking questions now because we actually do have a topic that we want to talk about, which is calling in your king. I want to ask, like, what are the things that took some time for you to consciously choose that by the time you called in your king weren't a conscious choice anymore? It was just a way of being.
That's a deep question. The biggest one I would say that comes up is one of two. So let's see where we go with it. Obviously, well, let's go with receiving because it is something that people ask me actually quite a lot. Like specifically, what did you do to receive your man? And I love that even the language is out there. Still a lot of people are saying like, where do I find my person or where do I find him? And I'm always like, you're not finding him. You're just receiving him. So it's completely different energy. But I'll speak to it because I definitely did. I actively chose to receive my own time and pleasure and energy. That's number one. Like one of the first things that I do with friends, clients, whoever is I'm like, make an I fuck with me list and put all of the ways that you like to spend your time with yourself. Because I'm definitely a victim of this. Like I had thoughts when I was younger, like, oh, when I have my partner, I'll do this.
Right.
I'll go on this trip. Oh, if my partner was different, we could do this. And it's like this society programs us to think that we need a partner to go on a trip with or go out to dinner. It's ridiculous. But I was like, okay, I'm going to make a list of like all the ways that I like to spend time with myself and get curious about myself and like put myself in situations that are going to teach me about myself. Like, I think if anybody is feeling like, oh, my person feels so far away, I'm like, well, that's just because you need to know yourself better. Like, they don't want to come into like a shallow pond. They also want to come into this depth, this ocean, this, rainforest, right? So I like really started to receive my own time a lot, which on the flip side of that was making my time valuable, like means something outside of just charging someone an hourly rate. Like if I had planned a solo night with myself with like maybe some fun, like self-pleasure things or like collaging or some dance music or some oils that I got in the city that weekend. I was like really excited. And then one person texted me, either a girlfriend or somebody from an app. I watched myself throw my own time out the window immediately for like a dopamine rush. And I actively stopped doing that. Like if I made a plan with myself, I don't care if the guy I was into the most in the world texted me last minute, which also is like would not fly for me anyways because of my values. I was like, no, like I am spending time with myself. So receiving like my own time, my own energy, my own pleasure. And then of course I'm still working on it, like to fully let it in. But on a side note, this was like such a perfect day for this podcast. We just got to the Netherlands. We're nomadic right now. Los and I, it's Carlos, but Los, everybody always is like, is it Laos? Is it like, they have no idea how to say his name. So he's planning like this 10-day trip, this part of our trip. And I was like, okay, cool. We'll go wherever. I'm not going to look at the Airbnbs. Like I love a surprise. I'm excited. And so I walk into this place an hour before we get on this podcast, and it is this little like A-frame, beautiful, tiny house right in the back of this lovely Dutch family. They greet us. It's stunning. Like everything is just intention and like organic materials. And I'm in heaven. Like I could not be more excited and grateful. And he's just like standing there all smiley. He knows like how happy I am. And I was like, Boo, do you remember on our first date after the jazz club? He probably wouldn't remember this, but I lived in the city. He didn't live in the city at the time. And he was like, oh, I'll get us home. And I was like, no, like I know where to go. And he's like, no, I got it. And I was like, no, I'll get us home. Like, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. And we had like a whole back and forth. And then so loud, my soul was like, Sammy, let him lead. Yeah. Like, that's what you want. Like, receive just being la-di-da-di-day. Just do it. And then I fast forward to 10 days in Europe, haven't booked anything. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm definitely further now.
Further. Oh my God. Keith and I went to Atlanta last year. In September, my 42nd birthday. So I'm like, you're so ahead of the game. I love you so much. I'm so happy for you. We go to Atlanta, and I'm like really practiced now at this point in letting a man lead. But we decided after my keynote that we would go rent those like electric scooters and just go through like the Piedmont Park. And I kept saying, like, no, we're supposed to go this way. And every time I did that, we'd hit a dead end. Every fucking time. It took me 3 times of hitting a dead end before I was just like, I surrender. And he's like, thank God, because I was about to force this upon him. But he actually like let me keep fucking up. And like, he knew better. He's like, I'm going to let her crash here so she gets the fucking point on her own. But after the 3rd time, he's like, if you didn't get that on your own, I was done with this.
Yeah. The other night, 2 hours I spent looking for restaurants, and we were in Berlin, and no joke, 2 hours. And I was like, I just can't find anything that's making me excited. And he's like, look at the list I sent you. I look at the first one. It was the perfect one. And that was my favorite meal, no joke, of the entire time. And I didn't look because I was like, I want to do this part. Like, this is a skill set like I really have. Like, I'm good at this part. I'm like, no, you're actually just fucking exceptional at everything. Like, you really are. And I think the misconception too is like, I trust myself enough to trust him. I think that's the part that doesn't get talked about. It's like, oh, you just want your man to lead and take a back seat? We're on this trip because of me. I am the leader in our vision, 100%. Like, he knows that, I know that. But from an execution standpoint, I trust myself to have chosen a man who makes exceptional decisions and considers me at the top of the list with every single decision that he makes. Why wouldn't I trust him? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm still working on it though.
You're doing great.
Thank you.
Also same, girl. Also same. It is a lifelong process, honestly.
Totally.
These sweet men that we have that like are willing to watch us like grow up right before their eyes, basically.
So patient.
To soften into our truth and to like witness that and like love us through that. It like does truly take a special person. I went to this book launch just 2 days ago, and she just like sat there and cried and talked about, the author did, and talked about her husband. And I just walked up to him and I was like, God bless the men that hold space for a woman to heal. And just thanked him and walked out. And I was just like, God, that we're so lucky. And I know a lot of women are thinking right now, like, there's just not enough of them. But I truly believe that when we hold our standards for them, the masculine will rise.
100%. And you and I have friends in our lives that have these men. Like, I was just in Berlin with another couple. Same deal. Like, absolutely incredible humans. Like, I'm surrounded by them. Closest friends, I'm absolutely surrounded by them. So they are. And I would say, like, if you are saying that, stop saying it immediately. Like, I'm not super superstitious with speech. Like, I don't think you're going to manifest a car crash. You say the word car crash, like, absolutely not. Right. But I do understand that it is a spell, right? It's spelling. And so like, if you're casting that energy around you, saying that there are no good men, like, that's the lens that you're going to look at through the world. Mm-hmm. So like, don't hang out with women who are saying that. And if they are, call them higher, because like you are setting, you're creating a reality, and like you're not going to see the great men if you don't think they're there. So like I stopped that immediately. I remember saying it once when I was in LA. I was like, you know what? It is really hard to date in LA. And I was like, no, it's not. It's great.
Oh wait, that's was my same exact experience down here in Southern Florida. Because a lot of the men are very, I mean, there are, you can certainly find men who basically just like want to open their wallet so that you'll open your legs. Sure, you
Ugh,
can, but you can find those men anywhere. It doesn't matter what
totally.
state you live in. But and they're just like, it's hard to date down here. It's hard to find like realness. And like, I did meet some like very real people, very real, not for me, for like my lifelong partner, but like very much for me in the season that I was in for exactly what I needed in the moment. And it was fun. I loved it. Like, I do. It's I quote this all the time now. My chiropractor's wife said something the other day, and she says, you don't see the world with your eyes, you see the world through your eyes, you see the world with your nervous system.
Hmm.
And so if that's what you're seeing, it's just like there needs to be a recalibration within the nervous system, or
Totally.
you'll see nothing different. And it starts with exactly what you said, which is just fucking stop saying that, first of all, and then
Yeah.
ask the
And
question of like, if there were good men, where would I look?
yeah, like where, yeah, where would, yeah, it's like, not even where would they be? Like, where would I be? Like, if I trusted so much with 100% certainty every single day that they're there, where would I be led? Like, and trusting, even if it's radical. Like, when I was living in LA, I got this tiny little nudge, like, Sam, you know, your man is on the East Coast. You know it. Like, you know, he's there. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I do know it. And so I was like, okay. And so when people asked me why I was leaving LA and moving to New York, I told them, I was like, my man's on the East Coast. And like, I'm not ready for him right now, but I will be eventually. And I would like to be there so that, you know, we could meet. And he was. So it's, you know, just go where you're feeling. There's no like, there's no like you're going to meet him at the bookstore, this and that. Like, it's whatever you're being nudged to go, that's where he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what did that process look like then? Like, how did you know you were ready to call him in? What preceded that?
You know, I think it sounds really simple, or I guess like maybe that it's been said before, but sometimes things are just true.
Mm-hmm.
um, I was obsessed with my life. Like, I loved every aspect of my life, and it was so intentional. Like, I rebuilt from the ground up after I left my ex. Like, it was like a nuclear bomb went off in my life after that, and I had to put each of the places in it back into place. Like the community aspect, the like shifting from purely just doing business coaching to finally teaching on intuition and launching Reiki retreats.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, it's a big pill to swallow when you realize, like, oh my gosh, like, okay, if I want to be the queen to this person's, if I want to be the queen to this king, like, what does she look like? And that's what I asked myself when I made the list. I'm like, who is this woman that this amazing writer, spiritually connected, successful man has on his arm? And I was like, damn, like, I'm out of alignment in a lot of areas. And I feel like it was true. Like, once I looked around and I was like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Like, my community is thriving. I'm finally doing work that I feel like I was put on the planet to do. Like, I'm having fun. I'm not that hard on myself. I was like, okay, like, somebody would be so blessed to walk into this life and be a part of what I have going on here. And I think that that was the readiness. Like, if somebody came in, I was happy, and if somebody didn't come in, I was happy. And I think that's the truth. And I was like, oh, I'm so ready for this, because I'm not trying to have somebody take to absolve or relieve me from anything, because I was embracing it. I was like, okay, the Sufis say loneliness and longing is the pathway to the divine sometimes. So some nights we're really lonely. And I was like, I think this is important. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just really liked my life.
Mm. You want your king to come home to you, you better come home to you.
Yeah, that's it. But it's not always easy. Like, it took a lot of intention to rebuild. But I'm so glad I did, because he came home to somebody who really was living in like a little heaven on earth with herself. And he got to be a part of that. And I got to be a part of the kingdom he was building.
You know, one of the things that I didn't have an awareness at the time that I was doing, but now I can look back and I can see all the pieces together, was like when I was first started dating, I kept thinking, like, because my life is so good, I'm like, man, I'm just an easy person to love.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize that that was actually such coming from a place of like, I have to be easy to love because otherwise the opposite is I'm a burden to love. And so I was doing it from a place of, I was creating this life for myself that I loved very much in my business, but in many other areas, I was just like, it was very much like a protection mechanism, my way of control of like, if I can control how little they need to do to love me, then I can control that I'll have love at all.
Well, so you asked me how I knew I was ready, but then all that came up once I was with him, of
Mm,
realizing, oh, wow, like I actually do my shortcomings or like my quirks,
of
my
course, yeah.
forgetfulness, my quirks, my cute little quirks,
You're adorable.
they definitely sometimes felt like burdensome. And I had to keep reminding myself, like, I'm a blessing, I'm not a burden. And I think that's what a real union does for each other. Like, he's got quirks too. Your man's got quirks. Like, we all got quirks. We got some weird things that we do and some weird hangups. And I'm like, yes, no, like, you are a blessing. You're not a burden. So yeah, I mean, I was definitely happy in my life before, but then when we got together, I definitely had to move through some things of realizing like how I am trying to be so easy to love, but maybe that doesn't always mean that I'm being real, which is what
Yeah.
he wants more than anything and is what I want more than anything.
Yeah. Bringing your truth to the table is like the ultimate gift. Your mic keeps hitting your
Oh, does it? I'll
collar.
hold it.
Yeah. Um, that's been my greatest lesson too, even like 14 months in. Like it came up so hard even this last week with like Keith has been so busy and just like really holding a lot in like just the last couple of weeks mostly. And I remember seeing him like hold more and more, and I'm like, which means that I have to. This wasn't happening at the level of consciousness. I just noticed that my automatic response was be less and less and less, so that whatever he has left, he can use to love you, which is not what he wants at all, right? And I did have conscious awareness when I noticed that I started doing it, and I really had to like breathe into my body and check my posture and check my discernment. Am I asking this from love or fear? Am I being this from love or fear? Am I thinking this from love or fear? And especially more importantly, am I doing this from love or fear? Which is like, let me just do more for him and show him like what I'll take off of him so that he'll have less of a burden, which I didn't realize at first was meaning so that I'll be less of a burden. And I'm like, oh, this came out so hard this week. I'm like gritting my teeth through it. But he and I actually had a match there. He even admitted, he's like, you know, I actually notice sometimes I do that myself too. And we got to have this like really beautiful conversation. And
That is
uh,
deep. I feel that in my whole body because I think, it's like honesty is the hottest frequency.
ooh, yes.
It is like, it is
Yeah.
the most magnetic. It's so hot. Like when we are so honest about like what we want. Like I told him something the other day where I was just like, I would love if you really were responsible for like all of our needs on the physical plane. And I was responsible and like spearheaded all of our needs on the ethereal and creative. And he was like, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing, what we're working on. Like, I was like, okay, great. He was like, that was honest. So I was like, yeah, no, it was.
I just want to sprinkle fairy dust in this world. After all, I am just a girl.
Exactly. And like what's funny though is like I sprinkle that fairy dust and then we also are like super financially taken care of too. But I'm like, I don't know, there's something about having you there as the pole of just like double checking it's really nice.
It is really nice. And God, like the way that when we see our man as like so capable, when you said that, what you said to him, the underlying layer of that was, I deeply trust that you've got this. Not just that I want it, but I also trust you can and will.
Oh yeah.
And a man is just like, he's like, he can do anything, feeling that frequency come from us. Keith has even said, like, I've never been with someone that makes me want to be so great.
Mm.
And I've never looked at him thinking, I want you to be anything other than what he already is. I just see him as a man who is so great.
Oh, so, okay, this speaks to something incredible. And I think that this is the power that we have as women to see into the future, because I really do believe we have that power. And it's prophecy or potential. And so I'm
Ooh,
okay. You're going to love this.
I can't wait.
You're really
I'm
going to
ready.
love it.
I'm
So,
ready.
what you just made me think about was so on our second date, and this is not like, I never say I'm giving any type of dating advice. I'm a women's intuition mentor. So I literally help you figure out like how your intuition speaks, not mine. My
Yeah,
intuition told me to do this. So
yeah,
we were getting margaritas. We are fully in love. Like similar to you and Keith, like from the first day, like that was it. Like we moved in like a month later, like said I love you 3 weeks in, like it was done. So our
yeah.
second date was like 6 months in. And, so I looked at him. At this point, he's wearing, just like picture this, I'm looking chic as hell. Like I have a floor length leather trench coat on, like a really nice, like camel colored one. My hair is done, eyeliner, like looking fabulous, living full Sex in the City in my little Italy apartment. He has no car, no job. Was living in an RV and then it broke down. So he just went to South America. He has a full beard, growing afro, backpack on, and like these barefoot, like heinous looking shoes. And I have like, 3-inch patent leather boot heels on. And I'm just in love, like absolutely in love. And we're sitting at the table and I'm like, so like what's your money situation, like how did I ask it? I think I literally said it like this, or I was like, are you just kind of like living day to day, or like did you have a job, like how are you flowing through the world? And was like
I love this
he was like, are you asking me if I'm poor? And I was like, I was already in, so like I didn't care, but I was just curious, like should I really be offering harder to split this, like in my head. And so all of that being said, he wasn't like, but he did just quit a 9 to 5 and like was on his surrender experiment. And it did not matter because I looked at him and I was like, it is not that you have potential. It is your prophecy to be successful in this
Yeah.
lifetime and to be so blessed, because the more blessed that you are, the more people's lives are going to change. And I knew that and I could feel it in my bones. And like every single thing that he said he was working on, that he was actively working on, not just talking about it, has bloomed. And it's still just, oh my goodness, blooming, blooming, blooming. I think especially now because I accelerated because we're together. But I say all of this because I'm like, I know that there's people listening who are like, but like he has so much potential and I think he could do this. The frequency of prophecy is in your bones. You know it. You can see it. If you cannot feel it in your bones that that is his destiny, it's not there. And maybe he'll choose a different path, whatever, but it doesn't need to involve you. Like, don't put yourself through that. I did it. It's not fun.
I hate that I'm laughing so hard, but it's so true. Like, you have less experience than I do because I'm 42, and I'm just gonna say that like I get to flex my wisdom years here to say I've never
Yes.
heard anything so true in my life.
Dating potential sucks. It's horrible.
I was one of my clients and great friends, Harriet Jackson, developed this AI bot that like helps you learn your numerology chart, your priestess numerology specifically. And I love it. I've been like having so much fun playing with it. And I asked it, I was like, based off my chart, what's my wealth potential? And it says, based off of like this, and this, your leadership, like you'll make tens of millions of dollars. And I'm like, true, factual. I feel that in my bones. And I said, now run mine and Keith's chart together. What's our wealth potential? And she says, 1 billion.
Oh,
You two together. And she's like, this is why, like when you guys come together. And I was just like, knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can feel that.
Prophecy, not potential.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to somebody's I feel so sad I heard this. I'm like, my friend said the other day, she goes, this person references this guy as a Build-A-Bear. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And she's like, it just means he's trainable. And I'm like, we don't want to like refer. I feel sad that this guy has a woman talking about him this way, first of all. But like, if you know that you have to like put in this like layer and layer and layer, and it feels like, well, if I do my job, I could make them this. That's not it. This is not the same.
It
It is
isn't.
not the
And
same.
what I will say that is, so this is relevant, I promise. There, how do I say this? From a karma standpoint, and like connecting to your dharma, rather, like your purpose on life. I think we obviously all go through different routes, and like you caregiving and like, trying to help this man, like the father of your children, your husband. Well, it is paying off because like, things have improved from what I hear, from a little bit that you share. And like you needed that. Like that was a part of your journey. But the difference is that you stopped when the cost of that was you. And I
Yes.
think that's where people don't stop. Like I left my 5-year relationship, called off the engagement because I'm like, now I'm in a deficit. Up until this point, I checked in with myself and I said, are the qualities that I'm growing through me sacrificing, committing, teaching him, training him, for lack of a better word, like believing in him, all these things, are the qualities that are growing in me ones that I will look back on and be so glad that I grew, like patience and belief and faith and perseverance and love and compassion. And it was always yes. And the second that it was no, I was like, I'm done. I got to get out of here. And the second I left, it's like he's a figment of my imagination. I literally can't even picture his face because our ties are so done because I learned what I needed and I don't regret it for a second. But if you are the cost of being with this person, I promise you that even if he gets to this place where like it's so much better, there's going to be so much resentment for how much of you had to sacrifice in that experience. And whew, like there's another way. You have infinite potentials, infinite paths. Pick a better one.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And like, I think neither of us went into, I know for me, I can speak to like this as being absolute truth. Like, I didn't go into that relationship at all thinking like that this was, somebody might say like a project versus a
No.
partner. Like, we had true partnership for the majority of our marriage. And like we were very much like a vibrational match for the majority
Mm.
of it in different ways, very, very complementary in some, and like polar opposites in good ways that did teach us a lot. It was like, but like the reality is sometimes good people go through shit experiences, and we made a promise together in like deep devotion. A couple that we knew when we were in our 20s had gotten married, and they asked us, they're like, hypothetically speaking, if you were on a hike with your wife and your kids, and you your wife and your child fell off the side of the cliff and you could only save one, which would you choose? And my husband and I looked at each other in that exact moment, and we both said, you better drop me, right? Or
Mm.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're going off the cliff next, right?
Mm.
Like, we shared that like deep, deep belief of like, we save our kids first if the time ever came.
Mm.
And they're like, why? You could make another kid. And we're like, what? Like, you should not have babies. I can't remember. I don't think that they had. No, she did already have a child. Okay, anyways, no judgment. To each their own. To
It's the
each their
girls who
own.
are gossiping at the bar. Like, no judgment. After 2 hours. Hey, teach their own.
Rachel Luna and I said this weekend, like, dear God, please wrap us in a velvet lesson for all of our judgment right now. Like, teach it it to us softly, please.
Well, but here's the difference, and it's probably not actually better, but I think it is. We psychoanalyze. I know you. Like, we haven't had much girl talk, but like what we're doing is likely like, yeah, I heard about her mom, and also, but did you know her sister's kind of like that? And like, I'm just trying to figure out the underneath psychoanalyze, like, because honestly, I'm like, well, maybe if she knew that this happened, it can be probably better.
I know, you're right. We're trying to figure out like the scientific cause and effect of how that could even have occurred in the first place.
100%.
But I remember thinking, like, at that point in my marriage where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have him in one hand and my daughter in the other, and I have to pick one. And I know what one he wants me to choose. And it was the hardest decision that we've ever made, but it was one that we both agreed on, and was the right decision ultimately, of course, in the long run. But yeah, like it's not like sometimes we just like ditch someone because they were like, wow, you can't like get me there or whatever. Like he really got me to where I was in that life by teaching me so many beautiful things, some really hard lessons, some really soft, loving lessons, and all of it. But yeah, like, but
soul conversation, it sounds like you had with him before you could have the physical conversation. Like, and that is something, you know, when I was contemplating leaving the relationship, I was working with an intuitive channel. Her name's Stephanie Banks, and I was in her programs and really learning how to channel. And I was practicing it, and she had done some readings for me, and I was doing some readings. And, you know, as a channel, like, you can read and really tune into anyone's energy, like living or past. And I remember one day like tuning into his energy, and very similarly to you, feeling like, oh, wow, like you don't even want this anymore. Like you actually love me to the capacity that you can. And you can't end this. And like, I have to. And I really believe we all have the ability to like tune into people at a soul level beyond all the ego and the fear and the shame and the doubt, and connect heart to heart. Like, is this the best for both of you right now? And if the answer is no, like, it's going to be okay.
that's exactly it. I remember looking at him one day and I was like, you can't actually heal through this when you look at my face and see the truth of my sadness in my eyes.
Oof.
He was trying to heal through his own stuff and at the same time witnessing how it was impacting me, and that was too great of a burden for him. And it was actually truly like one of the greatest acts of love that I ever did for him.
Yes.
Was ending things. I did it for me too, and for the kids for sure, but it very much wasn't to him, it was for him.
Yeah.
And then I had to surrender whether it would actually be a good thing or not for him. That was the hardest part of like, because my deepest fear was like, he won't live through this.
And I mean, this is far out, but like not in the sense of it being your partner and the father of your kids. Thank God he's here. But I really had to sit with, because I'm thinking about this with my dad too. Like, I remember tuning in a lot of times on a soul level with him and thinking like he's screaming in agony because of something that's happening with pain, and he was bedridden, so bed sores and all of these things, and was very out of it at the end. And so I would constantly have to ask myself, like, am I going to sit here and hold his hand for another hour as he's screaming and like saying all of these like really traumatizing things? Or am I going to tune in and hear him be like, baby, go. Like, you don't need to see this. You've been here all day. And, you know, the worst thing always in my head was like him not making it, him dying. And I'm like, damn, like, I got to rephrase that, because he did die. Like we're all going to die. Like, that's not actually the worst thing. That's just actually part of life. Like, what matters is like us truly believing that we are making decisions out of love for everyone involved. And like, that's it. Like, even the most worst case scenario isn't actually the worst case scenario, because it's all of our destinies. What is the worst case scenario is not making decisions out of love. That's the worst case scenario.
I literally couldn't agree with anything more. Like, I've said for a really long time, like, is this from love or fear? Is the root of this decision from love or fear? And that lands okay with people. They're like, yeah. As soon as I was like, am I doing this from pleasure or over pressure? Everybody's like, what? Related to money? I hear you now. Right?
Andrea, that's my thing I ask every single day. And every single time my girlfriends call me or voice note or whatever, I just spit it back to them, because it answers every single question.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. 100%. And I do believe that when you live in the presence of truth, that suffering will eliminate itself.
Hmm.
1,000%.
Oh,
But you
that's
have to
why I fuck
be
with you.
in presence of the whole truth. So hakuga.
Yeah. Yes.
What were we talking about again? Why are we here? I'm like, I just want to talk to you about
I
anything.
know. I'm really having fun. Well, we're talking about, well, I was going to say love list, but we actually didn't talk about that. I don't know. What did receiving?
I do want to go back to receiving because it oftentimes we think that that work ends once we've received our man, and actually truly that's where we get initiated. And I want to hear more about like the areas that you've been challenged on receptivity in divine partnership.
Oh my goodness. Truly every single area. What's interesting is what I really rarely ever talk about is sex. And for some reason that's coming up. So I'm just going to go with it of like, he loves to bring me pleasure. Like it is unbelievable, like in every sense of the word. And I have noticed so much less now. Like I'm just like, you want a gift? I will receive. Um, there was so much resistance there, like so much like I'm a lot around like I'm taking too long. And I say this from a sexual standpoint, but also like it mirrors everything because I take my time. Like I will rush energy is my least favorite, will not have it, like will not do it. Like do not rush me. I will never rush someone. So rushing, like that feeling, I like to take my time. But it's very interesting because sometimes that does come up for me of like, oh, I'm kind of slow or I'm taking too long or I'm making a decision and I need to have my pace at it. But with sex, it was like really amplified.
Yeah.
And I've been actually contemplating on this a lot because I do like, pussy work and womb work and all these beautiful things. And I was like, what he really taught me by like giving me so much time. Like we have to be in the top 1 percentile of like how much time he spends on just like helping me be in my body and loving on me. I realize this is kind of like a divergence, but I don't know, hopefully it answers some kind of question. I realize like when we take time, which I know you have resonance with, of like, oh my God, it's taking me so long to climax or whatever it is, like, why is it taking so long? And then we're in our head and not in our body. And that's not what they want either.
Mm-mm.
I realized, like, wait a minute. I think that our pussies were in a sophisticated way intelligently designed to take a long time because they're weeding out the men that won't put in the time. And also ourselves. Think about it. Like penises, they're so straightforward. Anyone could do, your eyes could be closed. It's not like so straightforward. Women's vaginas and vulvas are such complex mysteries. And sometimes it's like you're riding on the wave and then it's like the wave just transformed into a burning hot flame. And then it was like doused with water. And then all of a sudden it's like a bird and it's a cloud now. Now it's like a dagger. And then you're like, wait a minute, I was fucking with the wave. And I don't even know how to get back there, but we're on a new ride, baby. So like enjoy this because we're over here and you're going to need another 20 minutes as a bird. So just be. So anyways, he's really helped me like take my time in life by taking the time when we're intimate with each other and realizing like, oh, I actually think that slowing down in my life sexually, then also out, in the world is like a superpower. Like I could just relax and receive and be and like, yeah, I do. I think they're intelligently designed because it requires us to take our time and it requires our partners, men or women, to take their time. And the ones who do, I think it says a little something, something about them.
A fucking men. Okay, I have so much to say on this topic.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Everything landed. The bird
Great.
metaphor, all of it.
Good.
Faith and I have had a lot of conversations on this topic because it was also like one of my deep challenges of being in relationship with someone who's a giver. And he has really challenged my areas of like receptivity and and like how to open me. And you know when you said in the beginning, like you don't get a man, you receive a man.
Mm.
One of the things that he's actually said that he loves most about me were those exact words. And it wasn't like somebody said, told him to say this. It was like instinctually, he's like, the way that you surrender and receive me is the hottest thing about you. It's like intoxicating. Right. And so I have this as my baseline already. And we've always had, like, from the first time we had sex, like insane, like cataclysmic, like soul shifting, planet shifting, cosmic sex. Never had anything like it. But there has still been for me a, a major challenge. And I actually thought that I was like, am I just not great at receiving? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't believe this story for myself. This doesn't feel like my story. And I actually brought this question into my custom AI, which is called Legend. And I was like, Legend, I have this thing that's going on. And I just like barfed all of the thoughts that were coming up. And I'm like, am I just like not being receptive here? And she goes, nope, this has nothing to do with your receptivity. She goes, your turn on isn't the orgasm. Your turn on is the reciprocal pleasure. And I was like, oh, when if like he's going down on me, I'm like, poor Dylan, I'll make sure she doesn't hear this episode. Like when your daughter works for you, it's tough.
My mother-in-law, well, future mother-in-law listens to all of my podcasts. So I have the same thing. I'm like, maybe just skip today.
It's your karma if you end up hearing this. Like you'll figure out how to deal with
Exactly.
it and I'll pay for
Your
therapy.
mom's really fucking cool. You're blessed.
So she said to when she said like your turn on is reciprocal pleasure, it instantly landed as truth in my body. And I said this to Keith and he's like, oh, you just need to hear me more, because he's loving it. When he does it, he is so in it.
Ugh,
But if I can't hear him enjoying it, I don't enjoy it.
yeah.
And but if I like pleasure him first, I'm so turned on I can like have an orgasm so easily because my turn on is his turn on. If
Yeah.
I'm like hearing his pleasure, I can like almost orgasm just from that.
Feel that.
It's so real. It's like it's truly more of like the exchange of the energetic being than it is anything else. Like I can orgasm without truly orgasming from that like energetic like penetration. And
Totally.
nobody has like fucked me in more areas of my body than this man. Like heart, mind,
Ugh.
soul, third eye, pussy, all the things. Like I've never been fucked so hard in so many different places.
Oh, God. That's all we want.
That's all.
What I'm
Honestly, that's all I want.
That's it. What I'm hearing actually from both of us, though, is like, there is such an important and great conversation around being a receiver as a woman. Like, anatomically, like we are the receivers, right? Like, and
Right.
energetically, we often are. But I also think it's like, it's our natural state to
Mm-hmm.
receive.
Mm-hmm.
It's our natural state. And so I really love that Legend supported you and thinking like you're not the problem,
Yeah.
which I think is most of our job of like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, let's just like do a little bit of investigating on like what could actually just enhance this, make this better. And it's like, oh, you didn't actually have a receiving problem. You just had to tweak. Like, I actually don't have a takes long time problem. I'm actually really enjoying myself in all that time. I'm going to different places sometimes. I'm pulling different bits of information. I'm connected with Mary Magdalene. Like, I'm having a blast. Like, it doesn't need to be a certain way. So, like, honestly, like, maybe we actually don't, like, we're fine.
We are fine. And this also happened yesterday. Um, Keith, like I said, he's had like one foot in one area, one foot in others, and it's just like his capacity is really being refined right now.
Mm.
And we were talking about sex, but I could feel like he wasn't really there. And I just looked at him and I'm like, we've moved through so many rich, beautiful conversations lately. Like, before I can open to you again in this way, like, I need to feel clean energy, like deeply clean energy. And he's like, well, I can't even remember exactly what he said. He said one thing and I just like poked a hole in it. And I'm like, that's not your truth.
Oh,
And he was willing to like receive that. And all he did to open me was he just chose to get in the presence of his truth. When he got in the presence of his truth, I looked at him and in seconds I was like tearing his clothes off and I'm like, take me now.
yes. Oh, I can feel it.
It's so good. He just literally got embodied in his truth, and instantly everything in my whole body just opened because I'm like, I am safe. This man knows who he is. He's in the presence of it, and it like fucked me in all the ways that I needed to, and my clothes just fell off, disintegrated, done.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's like we can stand in our truth when when we don't have the fear present, which is just the daily practice. Just to not be scared of the love that's in front of you or the love that's waiting for you or the way that your life is going to change for the better when like we actually start living like with our gifts, right? Expressing our gifts in our truth, expressing our love, through what's true to us, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Humaning, man.
Yeah.
Samantha, this is the best conversation. I
This
love
was
you so
so
much.
great. I love you. I'm really excited to see you and hug you and do fun things with you. And, I want to give like you a true shout out. Like, I adore you. You articulate things the way that I need to hear them. And like, you just remind me of like deep truths that I know that sometimes I just like really need to hear and remember. And yeah, I just adore you and just am
Same.
so grateful to be in your sphere.
Same. Tell the ladies how they connect with you. What do you have going on right now? How can they be a part of your world, your containers, your
Yeah.
everything?
So women desiring the most intimacy, like I want to be psychic. I want to like learn how to connect with like true magic. Come to one of our Reiki retreats. I did 4 in this last year, and have my 5th in Brazil in the Amazon rainforest, October 1st through the 6th
Yes.
of 2025, which is going to be wild, like truly. And so, yeah, just go to samanthabove.com/retreats for any of the retreats coming up. And those are just like a true homecoming. It really is.
Did you already do your Italy retreat? I thought you
Italy
had.
is June, what is it? June 4th to the 10th. It's coming up.
Do you have spots?
I don't have any more spots left.
Oh,
No more spots left. But next year, I imagine I'm going to do the same one. And the Italy one, it seems like it's going to be a lot of like Mary Magdalene work. That's the biggest theme because she honestly is my spiritual guide that told me like you need to help spread Christ consciousness through
mm,
hands, through love, like, and not Christianity based, like all ascended masters, great teachers, like love.
mm-hmm,
But so we'll be back in Italy next year for sure. But Reiki retreats, and then Single Queens, Date Like a Queen is my program. It has like 40 audio lessons and truly like answers every dating question that you have that you're probably messaging your friends about, like from apps to online to flirting, staying embodied, like sex on the first date or not, like all of the things, getting ghosted, dating apps, like all through the lens of feminine embodiment and energetics. It's so beautiful. And like I kept voice notes through my entire dating process and then also falling in love. And I weaved all of it in, and it's just like going to build you for an epic experience in manifesting your partner. So that's just samanthbove.com/date like a queen. And then just reach out on Instagram at samantha.bove. I do private mentorship and a lot of fun things, archetypal programs and whatnot. But anything, just connect. The podcast, She's Too Much. So those are the things.
We will link all things in show notes so you are easy to find. Everyone,
Yay.
I imagine that there was a lot of things that like hit you right in the fucking soul over this conversation. So just pick one, send Sam a message on Instagram and just tell her thank you for something really specific. It's nice to hear like, wow, you really opened me up. But when you share like what opened up for you, intimacy is sometimes really hard, but when we do it with each other first, we can then do it with the masculine too. So let this be like a little nice initiation if you struggle with like sharing more intimate things with people. I
Yeah.
think if you've heard anything from this, that Sam is absolutely that safe space for you. and also one of the women that can safely call you to fucking rise and to raise your standards and all of the beautiful things. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.